Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video to talk about RWBY and what can be done to make the show a little better and how they can improve on stuff that's been going on. So RWBY has been progressing, and we just ended volume 7, aka season 7. And while we're putting a lot of strides and we're getting into a lot of we're getting into the nitty gritty of where the story is going to be going. The biggest issues that are going to be needing to be addressed is a lot of the stuff that's been going on. Obviously, they ended Volume 7 with a massive plot hole, which you guys could check out my 2 videos about why Penny, spoiler, being the Winter Maiden, is a terrible plot hole. But I digress. So basically, the problems with RWBY really starts since right before season 3 was premiering, because that was going into that pretty much the last that Monty Ohms was involved in. Unfortunately, before his passing, and so when he left this world way too early, this kind of brought in a dark cloud to RWBY as a whole, because once he was gone, a lot of inconsistencies started to happen. And while there are some things that were meant to happen, there's a lot of things you just don't know what would have happened if Monty was alive. We'll never know. We'll never know where RWBY was truly supposed to go when Monty passed away. We'll never know. We'll never know where the franchise was actually supposed to go. Now, we have heard different things over the years since Monty's unfortunate passing, where there was things that were supposed to happen that didn't happen, and there were things that the new writers were supposed to follow, but allegedly, according to people that work closely with Monty, that's no longer with Rooster Teeth Company, claims that that's not true. We don't know the true answer. But it will always be one thing that the fandom of RWBY will always wonder what happens. Now, I know for a fact that Volume 4, to me, at least, was probably the worst volume of them all, because it was just basically mostly walking around for the entire arc, when you think about it. And that was the first volume post-Monty, essentially, because, yes, Monty had passed away by Volume 3's release. He was alive at the time when they started working on it, so he was there for most of the overseens of the season 3. So that dark direction that RWBY went into in season 3, that was already going to happen. That was planned by Monty. That direction was going to happen regardless. So we do know that was where they were going. I know a lot of RWBY fans are under the belief that Monty Ohms did not want that to happen. That is not true. Monty Ohms had always intended on RWBY to go in that direction. Another misconception too is about, I still occasionally will talk to some people that don't know this, which to me is just really weird, because Monty Ohms himself confirmed it on his own Twitter page, before he passed away, which is still to this day on his Twitter page, is that Ruby Rose is blood related to Yang Xiaolong. I don't know where the hell people are getting this BS rumor from. I've seen multiple YouTube theory videos on it. Ruby is blood related to Yang Xiaolong. They are legitimately half sisters. They have different mothers, same father. That is a undeniable fact. Okay, Monty Ohms has confirmed this multiple times before his passing. Uncle Crow is not Ruby's father. Okay, I don't know where people are getting this idea from. As a matter of fact, technically, Uncle Crow is actually more of Yang's uncle, because Crow and Ruby aren't blood related. Since he comes from Yang's side of the family. So, yeah. This is something that I never understood where people got this idea from. But nonetheless, it's out there, unfortunately. But that's never going to happen, by the way, for people that are wondering. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the Penny thing's gonna have to get resolved, because I don't even know how you come back from that. To be completely honest with you, and I like Penny. Everyone was getting on me about the whole Penny thing. I like Penny. Like, I was the one who wanted her to come back, but her being the Winter Maiden still doesn't mean anything, because it makes no sense. But one of the biggest issues of the RWBY fandom in general is this whole, the whole Bumblebee thing. Let's just put the brushel onto the room right now, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? This Bumblebee ship. I see people talk about it all the time. Okay, let's just get into the whole brush in the room right now. You know what I'm saying? Bumblebee, okay, I don't care if you like the ship or not. It's whatever, I don't care for the ship. I've said it before multiple times. I'm not really into that ship. The RWBY fan base has been all over this Bumblebee thing for a long time now. It's not even really something Monty really wanted. To my understanding, he wanted Team RWBY to be more of a sisterly type unit, but more people are more interested in them being a ship than anything else, and I think it's a very toxic thing to keep this ship going, or it's not even a real ship though. Like, it's not even canon officially yet. Personally, I hope it doesn't become canon, but it's kind of like almost there. But we'll see where that goes. But I'm not a fan of Bumblebee. I'm a Black Sun shipper, as you all know. You guys know that already. Blake kissed Sun Wukong, which I thought was amazing. And then, of course, Sun just left, and we haven't seen Sun since, which kind of sucks. And then we've seen this whole Bumblebee thing kind of at the end with Adams and whatnot in Volume 5. I wasn't a big fan of that, the whole thing with Adam. Especially since they just killed him. Like, they were just like, they didn't take him in. No. They didn't do what a hero should have done. They killed him instead of take him in. Have him be arrested like they should have. Which, that was something that a lot of people were bugged by. Which, I can understand why people were bugged by, because it's like, okay, we just basically killed the guy that basically tried to kill everybody else, right? For his own interests. Where did we learn growth as a character by killing this dumb fuck, right? We just oh yeah, we're just we're not gonna take him in. We're not gonna take him in and have him be in jail where he should be. No, we're just gonna kill him right then and there. Yeah, that wasn't a really good scene. I was like, yeah, you just basically confirmed a lot of not really good things as characters to doing that. But the Bumblebee fan base, and not everybody is like this, but I feel like the Bumblebee fans are kind of taking this whole ship, whether it becomes canon or not, way too seriously. It's getting to a point, though, where this ship, okay, is becoming more important than the actual storyline. Okay, because people are doing all these teasers. We got, for example, in this past season, we got a teaser of RWBY and Oscar. When Oscar, kind of was right up on RWBY earlier early in the season. Everyone was like, oh my God, RWBY and Oscar could be a thing now. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm not gonna lie would be freaking weird. Because I mean, are we talking about Ozpin or are we talking about Oscar right now? Because it's like some Yu-Gi-Oh! Ass ship right now. If you know what I mean. Right now, if people that watch RWBY, that watch Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I'm getting at right now, right? So it's like, what the frick? And so my point being with Bumblebee is I think Bumblebee is becoming a hindrance to the storyline, and that kind of bugs me even more because they got to put in some of these teasers for Bumblebee, right? That it could possibly happen, which it's not officially happened, but obviously when at the end of the last, not this season, but the volume 6, they kind of had that whole thing at the end with Adam and shit like that, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is going to happen because they held hands and stuff like that. But my problem with that, most importantly, is this going to become a hindrance to what actually ends up happening now, moving forward? Because let's say Bumblebee doesn't become canon, and Yang and Blake don't become a couple, right? Let's say that, because that's actually what I'm hoping for. Okay, let's say that doesn't happen, right? Then we're gonna get these toxic fans that are like, oh my God, this needed to happen. Why didn't you make this happen? There was the same thing that, and I experienced it. Because I'm a huge Naruto fan, right? I was a Naruto Sakura fan, right? Okay, Naruto Sakura didn't happen, as you all know, if you're Naruto fans. Naruto Sakura didn't happen. Okay? Didn't happen. Okay? Didn't become canon. They went with the Hinata and Naruto ship, or whatever it's called. Okay? Everybody threatened Kishimoto. They threatened Kishimoto. And I'm kind of worried if this ship doesn't become canon, we're gonna see the same thing with that, and that I have a big issue with, because if you're not watching RWBY for the actual storyline and you're watching it just to get that Bumblebee action going, you know what I mean there? If that's all you're watching that's all you're watching RWBY for, then you ain't really supporting the show. And that I have an issue with. Because if that's all you care about, then why are you watching the show to begin with? You can just watch a bunch of fan art for that stuff. You know what I mean? So, that's one of my things that too. And then again, that's just getting into really what the fan base for that stuff doing. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. And just getting into, on what the fan base is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like how the fan base is kind of obsessed over this ship, and not really obsessed with the storylines that are going on. That's something I don't like happening right now with RWBY. Another thing that they need to kind of get into is really kind of trying to have more character development growth. Because, let's be honest right now, okay? Whoever the next Maiden is, whoever the summer Maiden is, okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the summer Maiden needs to be a new character. And I'm not saying like some old grandma like the Winter Maiden was until Penny took over. I'm talking about we need a Maiden who doesn't die, doesn't get killed, or isn't like a pretend Maiden. Okay, we need a new character that's the summer Maiden. Okay, that isn't going to die or isn't going to get passed away. You know, like, okay, the last couple of Maidens we have gotten, right? The last couple of the 3 Maidens we've gotten so far. First, it was Amber, right? Character we didn't really know that much about. She was pretty much already dead by the time we found out who she was, because Cinder had already taken half of her powers, right? So, that already happened. Okay, so we didn't get any real character development growth from Amber. Okay, because she pretty much was dead. Then we move on to the Spring Maiden. Okay, we move on to the Spring Maiden, and we thought it was Vlanal, because we were under the impression that she had went to Raven's, place to train. And we found out that, well, no, Vlanal wasn't that person, because that person was dead. We have no idea who that person was. We have no idea who she was, or identified who she was, because no one told us who she was, because she was irrelevant, because she was already dead. Raven killed her, okay, and took her powers. So, that's our Spring Maiden, okay? And now we move on to the Winter Maiden, and it was some old person, right, dies naturally, and gives the powers to Penny, essentially, which is a plot hole in itself. But besides the point, you get what I'm saying, okay? That needs to change, okay? We need to, like I said, the 4th Maiden needs to be someone that we don't know who it is. It's a new character, and the character needs to be around. The character needs to live, and the character needs to actually be one of the new RWBY characters, essentially, in the show. That's who the Summer Maiden should be. Okay, it shouldn't be some old person that gets killed or passes away, or it's a character we already know, like Raven. Okay, it shouldn't be one of those characters. It should be a brand new character. That's what I think we should do for the Summer Maiden. People are already guessing who the Summer Maiden could be. But that's who I think the Summer Maiden should be. And I think that would help a lot better than who we currently have gotten for the other 3. Another thing that needs to happen, I think, in my opinion, is that Team RWBY needs to kind of expand on their growth as characters. Because, no offense, but I think we haven't seen that enough. We've seen a little bit of it, but we haven't seen that much. The last couple of volumes, we haven't really seen that much difference from the characters. We've seen all their techniques, We got Ruby Rose's Silver Eyes, but we haven't gotten really in any expansion of it, other than some of the couple of things from the past mythology of the Silver Eyes, from Maria. With Weiss, she's kind of gotten a little stronger with her powers. John obviously has his healing thing, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Blake doesn't have anything new to go on. Yang doesn't have anything new to go on. We haven't heard from Raven in a while, ever since, she was revealed as a Spring Maiden. Like, what's going on with her? Why aren't they going after her again? They all know she's the Spring Maiden, so why aren't they going after her? Why isn't Cinder going after her? Still, or trying to go, get a revenge on her. No, we're just going to go right to Atlas. You know what I mean? Just going to go right to Atlas. What's going on there? There's a lot of different things that need to kind of be expanded on about these characters, to help them improve, help them, get better, and progress the show much better, because lately it's been more about trying to find these maidens, but kind of not trying to grow these characters, into what they can do. Like I said, I don't think Team RWBY should have the Maiden powers, which I pretty much think has been confirmed now that they're not ever going to get the Maiden power, so I really don't see why people are still thinking this. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys. There needs to be a lot of improvements. People need to stop ignoring ships. People need to stop paying attention to ships, especially the Bumblebee ships. There are many other ships too we could get into. Like I said, the Oscar and Ruby ship is kind of grown a life in itself as well too, to a certain extent, which is kind of weird in my opinion. Because Ospin being like associated with Oscar. It's kind of weird if you think about it, especially if you watch Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's not as nearly as bad as Bumblebee is, with the fan base. It's very toxic, because, when I watch RWBY, I don't watch it really for a ship. I really watch it more for a storyline, with the exception, I guess, of Blake and Sun, but I don't really watch it for that. But I do like that ship. I'm not gonna lie, I do like that ship, but I'm not very obsessively over it. Obviously you got Nora and Ren, which is pretty much canon. So I'm not gonna really get too much into Nora and Ren, because that's kind of a thing already. But also actually, speaking of Nora and Ren, what I do like, and I hope RWBY does expand on, and I'm glad I actually just mentioned them because I just thought of this. What I do hope they expand on with Nora and Ren is what we seen in the last season that just ended. Because if you remember, there was one episode where Nora was kind of, against a lot of the General's plans, right? Where Ren was laid back and kind of agreed with, at least for that particular thing, with the General's plan. Ironwood. And I like that. And Nora kind of gave her a look. I did like that because those two are canonized lovers. Those are canonized. They are canonized. That's a canonized ship because they've actually kissed and whatnot, on the lip and all that shit. That's a canonized ship, and those two disagreed on ideologies, at least for that particular issue. I do like that, and I hope they expand more on that because that is something that I do like. The fact that two people that are actually shipped together are actually disagreeing on something, that's very important to the plot that happened in volume 7. I don't know if any of you caught that, but that is something I caught, which I thought was something very important to the growth of them as a characters that are shipped together, that are an official canonized ship together. That is something I think is very important, very powerful. But yes, there are things that they can improve on. Most importantly, Rooster Teeth needs to get their butts off when it comes to the animators, because obviously there is a huge issue with animators getting paid. Obviously, as you know, there was an overtime issue with animators. There's actually a couple animators, to my understanding, that have quit and have been laid off, actually, from what I to my understanding. So that is something that is very important, and that is something that needs to definitely be resolved, because you can't make RWBY without animators at the end of the day. So these are kind of some rundowns of some things I think that they need to kind of improve on, and also not to mention what the fan base, needs to kind of lay off on too. We kind of got on that with the whole ship issues. And the problems with ships in Rooster Teeth in general. This is mostly for Bumblebee, because that seems to be the big issue when it comes to RWBY. But there are a couple other ships that are kind of creeping up there too, that are kind of getting out there, getting out of hand, that I kind of addressed as well too. But mainly, I wanted to get into some of the things that they can improve on. I don't know how the hell they're going to improve on Penny being the Winter Maiden. They're going to have to make something up, because it still don't make sense to this day, and I don't know how you can even recover from that. But nonetheless, that is it. Let me know if there's anything you think that RWBY needs to improve on. Do you agree with some of my things? Let me know. Comment, rate. If you are a subscriber to mine, hit that notification bell for all the latest contents. And if you aren't, then just subscribe. And I do have a Discord link in the description where we can discuss all this stuff. And that is about it. I am the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace!